Okay, sorry about the interruption there. Something happened with this computer system, so I got it working back. I hope you can see this. Okay, so we left off with relapse, continued treatment acceptance and resistance, relapse, continued use of potential, and recovery environment. These are the last three. So relapse, continued use of potential. Basically, in that note, you want to put down, did the person relapse and what was their potential of relapsing? Do they have the potential now? What is their prognosis? Excellent, good, fair, or poor? How many relapses they had up to this point during treatment? If they haven't, then no relapses at this time. If they had three, then you list it. Up to this point in time, there were 3 relapses, but none within the past 2 weeks, 3 weeks. Patient shows some type of improvement. You want to put that in there. If it's towards the end of their treatment time, you want to put in there their relapse potential. So in the relapse potential, you want to show, do you think that they're going to be fine when they leave and they've got enough coping skills, or do they need more time? And you better be able to justify why they need more time, more than the patient hasn't really worked through it. Because if the patient hasn't worked through stuff, it's going to get kicked back and they're going to say discharge the patient. Because they're not going to pay for treatment if the patient doesn't want to progress through treatment. And they certainly aren't going to pay for treatment if you, the therapist, you, the clinician, are not competent enough to do your work. Okay, they will kick it back. So relapse, continues, and potential. The last one is recovery environment, family, social, educational, vocational. The recovery environment is very important. So as we take a look at recovery environment, address these. Do they have an intact family? Is their family system able to work with their material, with them? Are they willing to take them back? If not, why not? If so, under what conditions? Socially, are they socially interactive, or are they impeded in some way? What is it like socially for them? Educationally, did they learn anything? What did they learn? Do they have any type of education, so to speak, or are they still nebulous? Do they want to continue their education? Do they want to, when they're finished rehab, do they want to go to a place like Intercoast and learn drug and alcohol counseling? What are their desires? Vocational, what do they want to do for work? It's not just the idea of going into treatment, but you got a future plan. You've got to sit there and you've got to try to figure out what this patient wants in life and go there. So the last part of it, when writing this note, the clinician is to numerically indicate what he or she is addressing in the session. So like all the rest of the notes that I showed you, the DAP, VERP, BURP, etc., you want to put down the number and just circle the number. On all ASAM notes, usually the clinic will have this, from 1 to 6 listed, as you see here, right? The drug use and withdrawal potential, number 1. Number 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, all right? So when you write your clinical note, all you have to do in the blank line is put 1, circle it, and then the drug use and withdrawal potential. If you have any questions on this note, you need to ask your clinical supervisor immediately. Don't write a note thinking that it's perfect, it's beautiful. You should have somebody review your notes before you turn them in. Because anything wrong with this note, they'll kick it back. And if Medi-Cal kicks us back, or the insurance company kicks it back, it's not going to bode well because you just lost sessions and you're not getting paid for this, right? So you should have somebody review the notes. And whatever criticism they give you, I don't care if it's 5 notes in a row, you take the chuck on the jaw and you take the criticism because it's the only thing that's going to make you better. Remember, 98% of your time as a clinician is going to be writing, okay? So, Medi-Cal criteria. I want you to take a close look at this, right? We'll move this a little bit closer for you so that you can actually maybe read this a little bit more, if I can do this right. Okay. So take a look at this Medi-Cal criteria. The following statement is to be placed in some form at the beginning of the note, and I do mean this, at the beginning of the note. So right before you start your DAP, SOAP, VERP, BURP, or anything, this is what it has to say. This client arrived either on time or on late by so many minutes or did not show up for session. That's very important. They want to know if the client came or not. Then you want to put underneath that or next to it as this is. This client was dressed and then describe it. Disheveled, ripped pants, appropriately attired, well-polished shoes, hair combed, grooming was appropriate, okay? If the patient is malodorous, you write that here. Patient came disheveled, ripped clothing, quite malodorous, was redirected by therapist and asked to please take a shower next time they arrive, and client was given a voucher for Goodwill to get some new clothing, whatever you do, right? Affect, mood, describe it. If you don't know descriptive words from what I've taught you in class, please look them up. What was their affect? Cheerful? Was it sad? Was it labile? What was their mood? Was it depressed? Was it anxious? Unremarkable? And describe what each one of those means. So then you want to put client was being suicidal, not suicidal, had homicidal ideations, no homicidal ideations, reports no voices or visions, reports voices or visions. Describe them. Were they male, female, loud, soft? Were they command hallucinations? Did they tell the person to hurt themselves or somebody else describe them? And then in addition, a brief thing on what the session was about. This is not your progress note. Session was about anger management. Session was about mood control. Session was focusing on patient's depression. End it. And then you start your note from there. Okay? All right. So let's back this up so you can see me a little bit better. All right. So again, when we're dealing with these progress notes, when we're looking at this, some of the things that we want to understand, they have to be clear, they have to be concise, they have to be accurate. Do not fudge them. They have to be done on the day that they are due. They must meet the criteria as I outline them. They need to be signed off unless you're licensed or certified. Not registered, RADP is not certified to registration. So all of your notes have to be signed off by your clinical director or supervisor, right? In this situation, you're writing your notes, they got to be signed off by me. I don't sign them off, you need to rewrite the note, okay? You need to know every one of these notes. Burp, FERP, SOAP, PI, ASAM, SOAP-E, all of them. Know what the acronyms mean. You should know them right off the top of you. You shouldn't have to look them up all the time. Memorize them. I don't know what your clinic is going to use because I don't know which clinic you're going to go into, right? But the last thing a clinical director wants to do is waste his or her time teaching you how to write a progress note. Those are the facts, okay? So please learn these. Learn your vocabulary. Build your vocabulary. Write clearly. Never, ever, ever cross out a note like this. Whatever is in a chart has to stay in a chart. It is illegal to put something in a chart and then pull it out of the chart. It is illegal. I'll say it again, it is illegal. If it's in a chart, it has to stay in the chart. If there's a mistake in the note, then the note needs to go on top of that one, explaining the mistake, and then rewritten correctly. Right? These are all rules and regulations that we've talked about and that you need to know. All right, so that should take care of all of your progress notes. So I want to stop it here. Hopefully you had enough time for a break or whatnot. If you haven't, take about 5 or 10 minutes, because the next thing before you see your patients is going to be your treatment plans. I want to try to go through this a little bit quickly, so you're going to really have to pay attention, all right? I think I discussed this in the last mod, but that was a mod ago, so I might have or might not have. But I think I discussed this in your last mod, and if I discussed this in your last mod, then you pretty much have it down. If not, here's how you do a treatment plan. Okay, so take your break, come on back, and let's start the TP.